And we're going to start off. It's a miracle in itself. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, back a few weeks ago, Little Caesars did a commercial, and almost unseen was a robot chauffeur or driver in the front seat of the limo. And I stopped and pointed that robot out because I thought that you might miss it. And now I come to find that the robot was an important part. It was like a foreshadowing of a greater role to come. And we're going to see that now in a minute. Unfortunately, there's a surprise ending. Whoops. Whoops, I got to turn it over here to the video. There we go. Okay, and we'll just keep going from here.
Look at this new crazy calzone from those brainiacs at Little Caesars. It's a
Yeah,
pepperoni
Little
pizza
Caesars.
surrounded by a calzone crust. Little Caesars got us again.
Is it more pizza or more calzone?
I don't know. What do you think, Pizza Bot?
Pizza, calzone, both. Confused. Pizza,
Uh-oh.
calzone, both. Tell my wife. Bleep bloop.
Bleep bloop.
We're not Big Pizza. We're Little Caesar.
Yeah.
New crazy calzone for $8.49. Pizza.
Okay, so by folding in the corners somehow, that's not true. How can you have a corner on a round pizza? But anyway, by cutting it in and folding it somehow, they've made a little bitty calzone on the edges of the pizza. And I think it's clever, but I don't know what calzone is. I asked my wife, and she said it's kind of like a pie, like a meat pie, or a popover with cheese and meat in it. I said, okay, so they've kind of done that. Anyway, now the sad part, as you saw there, is that the robot is dead. Now, robots, they could make another one. So maybe there's more to come from the robot. And it's really important stuff for marketers to think about this stuff. Which brings us to Tom Fishburne. I probably should have skipped the commercial since I already have the humor of Tom Fishburne already embedded. Let's get over to that. Let's see if I can figure that out. Ding, ding. And I'm in the PDF area. So now I got to get over to the brand Onion. Today's cartoon, he says, essence. The onion, at the core of the onion is all the brand's hubris in one word. And I've been part of these things. I never really ran them because I didn't believe in them. So I'm on the same page with Fishburne. But then there's the brand purpose. Why that hubris is good for the world. Then there's the brand promise. Now that hubris is good. Now how is that hubris good for customers? Now the brand values, the same cliches used by everyone else, and the reasons to believe in the brand, a word salad of buzzwords no one understands. And I don't really understand the whole thing, to be honest about it. But Tom points out that this is like brand DNA, brand wheel, brand key. In theory, it captures what the brand is all about. But in practice, the brand often says more about the marketing team than it does about the brand. And that's kind of where I was at when I was part of it. I wasn't a good team player, let's say, because they can be self-indulgent, inflexible, and full of jargon. And I always wonder what they're paying the guy who's running the thing. Anyway, early in his career, he spent months in meetings debating the brand essence for our brand of frozen vegetables. Ultimately, they came up with Healthy Haven because our director really liked the word haven. I'm thinking of the Grey Havens in the Lord of the Rings. Okay. It was a peace treaty. We could kind of sort of justify it, but no one reading our brand Onion would have been able to do anything with that. The brand Onion rarely passes the factory floor test. Could you share it outside the marketing ivory tower without being laughed out of the room? Now that's the real question. It's frozen vegetables. Are they any good? That's the question. The strongest business communication is just plain English. Good beans. Okay, while you're debating the exact wording, a direct-to-consumer brand has gathered a small lake of first-party data telling them exactly where to pivot next. And of course, that's kind of optimistic also, because data never tells you what's next. All data is historical. Sorry, Leo Raymond. All data is historical. It will never tell you where to go next. It might tell you what people are complaining about, and we'll get to an article on that. Here's a cartoon from 2006 that sums up Tom's experience at brand camp. Healthy Haven. He says, after 6 months of mind-numbing grammatical infighting, we finally agree on a brand promise of Healthy Haven. And then the next person says, my college girlfriend was named Haven. How about Harbor? Healthy Harbor. I hate sailing metaphors. And I tried to get them, when they talked about what kind of team do we have here at this company, I tried to show videos of the America's Cup on those catamarans going 50 knots around the course, 50 knots in a sailboat with no external power, or no batteries either. Unbelievable. They didn't like that. I forget what they picked. I have no idea what they came up with. After a while, I was being paid to be there, so I resigned because I couldn't take the money anymore. One onion to rule them all. We filter all decisions through our almighty brand onion, but it's filled with esoteric jargon even our own agencies don't understand. That's one person standing up. Don't be this person. You get fired. Shouldn't we challenge it to make sure it's still relevant? Don't be that person either. Blasphemy. No one questions our brand onion. More genuflecting. Yeah, and that's the guy who's in charge of it all. And he doesn't want it to change. So anyway, if you like discussing crazy marketing ideas and the reality, you want to sign up for tomorrow's meetup, which is just conversation. We haven't sent out a lot of promotions, but we got some really great people coming, which is kind of amazing. People like these things, and I like them too, because it's, the COVID thing is coming back or not, or who knows. And, the print convention down in Orlando in October, they asked me what I thought of the whole thing, and they're going to have you wear masks the whole time, which, I understand are effective if they're N95 and if they're fitted properly, which they won't be if you have a beard. So all I would wear it for is the show. I mean, that's a double entendre. Just for show. And I don't do things just for show much. Here's my favorite Tom Fishburne alike of all time. Inside the mind of the consumer. My husband, my kids, friends, Fifi, home, sunsets, travel, me, mom, and dad. Career. I don't see our brand of pickle relish anywhere. It's inconceivable. This is a brand loyalist. Yeah, because one of the reasons we use brand is to simplify our lives. So if you got a pickle relish that you like, or a condiment or some other thing, and you go to the aisle and instead of seeing the vast array of pickle relish choices and pickle choices, you see the one you've used before and like the taste of. And that means you don't have to think about it at all, ever again, never. And that is why we like brand. And if you don't know that, you don't know much. Okay, here's an interesting one. China restricts kids' online gaming to 3 hours a week. 3 hours a week. That sounds like my childhood, when my dad said we could only watch, I think, one show a week, one TV show a week. At least that's how we started. I think Saturday mornings were open. We could watch cartoons, but it might have gotten to the point of one show a night, but it wasn't more than that. I know that. And if it was a half-hour show, that's 2 hours or so a week of the school nights. Anyway, so China's asking the gaming. Well, first of all, it's asking for real identities on the gaming, which might knock some of the fun out of the gaming. And then real ages and stuff. And then if you're under 12 or something. Yeah, 13. If you're up to 12, you can only get back when Tencent did it in 2018, they allowed 1 hour per day. But now it's down to 3 hours a week, and it's only Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so woo, and only that hour. That's going to be a really fun hour, though, because everybody's going to be on. All your friends are going to be on at the same time. So it may have some benefits. Okay, consumers want personalized content, but research suggests brands are having trouble delivering it. Yeah, what a surprise, because data is historical. And you don't know when the check engine light came on my car, or why, or whether I care, or whether I have that $6 item I got from eBay that lets me turn off the check engine light because I know what it is. And it's not easily fixed, but it's not really not working. It's a sensor. It's not even the sensor isn't working. It's the differential, and it's caused by thing like the weather. Anyway, and I can go 1,000 miles without it coming up again. So you don't know what's going on in my life. You don't know my priorities. You don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to decide next. So personalization is kind of an unattainable thing. And here's an interesting quote. We get that. Look, as humans, as consumers, we've become used to high quality content that's also personalized. We have? Where do you get it? Okay, somebody chime in. Where do you get personalized content anywhere in life? The answer is when you've looked it up yourself and said, I want more of this, to somebody who generates just that content. In other words, I watch YouTube sailing channels and farming channels, but my wife is not going to let me raise pigs. She told me that. She's told me that many times. At least I'm raising honeybees, which she wasn't too keen on for like decades, but we got some now. But I watch bee videos, I watch pig videos, and I watch sailing videos. But those are channels I subscribe to myself. YouTube, all YouTube did was give me a way to subscribe, right? And I'm learning to avoid ESPN because they shove all kinds of things I don't want at me. Now I can go to MLB and check the standings. I can go to Packers.com and find out they lost, or wherever, So I personalize my content. Once I get there, it's not personalized at all. No. Now, TikTok, if you don't care, you just want to laugh a little, there's some stupid stuff that'll come up and it'll feed to you. But it's not really personalized. It's just only grossly personalized. So I would contend that we get that on our phones. No, we don't. No. We go hunting for content that we like, and it very rarely gets us where we want to go. The average Google search is about 1/3 what I was hoping for, and or worse. So first of all, we can't really get personalized content, and so if you're a consumer and you expect it, dream on, baby. But worse than that, nobody knows what you're going through, and you don't know what you want next. So if you expect merchants to guess that, well, 20% or 40% people do. And there was an interesting illustration here. Apparently in 2013, here's a marketing story for you. Nike lost Stephen Curry, who was, I think, a basketball star, but I don't watch the NBA, so I don't know. But they lost Stephen Curry, who was endorsing Nike, apparently, because they showed a repurposed slide with Kevin Durant's name on it. And Stephen Curry said, I don't want to be part of this. You can't even put a real presentation together, and you've got some other guy that is a competitor of mine during the pitch meeting. Okay, this is an example of non-personalized content that could cost a company millions. Yeah. We used to say that you should try to fit your illustrations to the geodemographics of your audience. But now, routinely, it's almost universal that I don't ever see old men with beards. Even though I have money to spend, they don't want to send me a personalized content looking like me. It's kind of funny. It's all of a sudden it's all disappeared. even though I'm the guy they want to sell to. So I see brands doing this over and over and over, and it does annoy me, I have to admit. So oftentimes, your best bet is not trying for personalization, but trying not to annoy people. And that's something, you really don't know me. And since you don't know me, try to be a little less annoying. Maybe go with illustrations that reflect the vast majority of your geodemographic profile rather than trying to. And my kids explain to me, well, what they're trying to do is they're trying to show diversity, which is popular among old white guys. Well, maybe, but that's kind of elliptical. It's like brand strategy. May work, may not. You know what I would say? Test it. Test it. Come to the meetup. Tell me what you think. It'll be a lot of fun. And here's a pretty good article. It's a little long, so you'll get the main part in there. But one of the things that Jane says here is that by minimizing the rate of churn, companies can prosper and grow quicker. The truth is, thanks, Keith, most companies think about how to speed up growth. Their generally first thought is how to pursue new customers. And so there's lots of strategies. Direct mail is mentioned. That's how it came up in my search. Here's a great one. Customer feedback. A company might be informed by multiple customers that they are unhappy with certain elements. Like this apple had a sticker on it. I had to bite it off with my teeth. I could not get it off with my fingernail or nothing. It was a stucker sticker. And I'm gonna feedback that one because it's inside a bag of apples. It isn't even like an independently scanned apple. Ugh. Anyway, so maybe 2.5 million consumer complaints were left on pissed consumer is evidence that people aren't listening. Okay, and 55% of companies employ direct mail strategies to reach out to their customers. Sometimes it's best to know who to retain and who to ignore. As we said, personalization is almost impossible. We're going to get to personalization here. Like, for example, Musician's Friend, we specially eliminated full price buyers from a sale price offer. Twice a year, Musician's Friend would send out a sale catalog. And, not everybody buys on sale, but there are some people that only buy on sale, and they might not have bought from me for 3 or 4 years. Might want to send that to them rather than eroding the margin of your best customers. Just send them something else. You're going to mail them in another month. With Cabela's, we showed them that when hunting season came, the muzzleloaders guys who bought a $400 or $500 muzzleloader and hadn't bought again in 4 years, probably not until the divorce was finalized. But you could mail them 4 years later and get them back. Whereas if you mailed the hotline, in the summer when you're pulling the names, the people that are buying from you most recently are fishermen. So we taught Cabela's that maybe it's better not to mail the most recent buyers, even though that was their whole strategy, and instead and ignore them and then mail the people. That also works with Christmas gift buyers. You might want to ignore them. A whole segment of them, if that's the only thing they've ever bought, are best ignored, especially if they bought it in e-commerce, which has a low lifetime value compared to mail. So there's a lot of good things in here. I wanted to just show you the bathtub model because I really like this idea that customer retention is important for growth. So here the spigot on here is spending, and spending gets you new customers. And you can tell who's new because they haven't, you look in your file and they're not there. They've never been there before, that address is new, etc. We can do that in direct mail. Okay, then, you add that to your existing customers, and so let's say this is 100,000 new customers. You put them in there, you should have, instead of 300,000, you should have 400,000. But when you look at the end of the year, you don't have 400,000. When you count the 0 to 12-month buyers, you have some lesser number. Why? Because some customers are going down the drain. Some are leaving. You don't know which ones necessarily are leaving because they may not have said, I'll never buy from Cabela's again. Their wife might have said, you're never buying from Cabela's again, but now she's gone somehow. And so things change, and those customers can come back. So you don't really know who's gone and who's staying. You don't know their circumstances. But you can count up who bought, how many bought in the last 12 months. And you can find out that some didn't buy. And so that number goes down. And this is the way direct marketers have kept track of their business, kept track of that balance between acquisition and retention. And the fact is, if the more holes you got in your retention, the less effective your acquisition is going to be. And so one key is to maximize your customer retention. And then you can spend more money on customer acquisition. I know that's a little complicated, but that's the way it is. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. I think there's one more bathtub model. Yeah, with even more going down the drain. And that's one of the things we've helped with a lot of customers. Help them decide who not to mail, who not to contact, and where to spend that money on others that might be reactivated. Excellent model. It makes your customer